In the world of Fujifilm's real pocket cameras, and by real pocket cameras I mean actual point-and-shoots without a viewfinder, and I'm not counting the Fujifilm X10, X20 and their siblings, we only have 4 options. And out of these 4, 2 stand out because they are rocking Fujifilm X-Trans sensor tech that we all know and love, while the other 2 use the more traditional Bayer sensor. The XQ1 or XQ2 and the X70 are on the X-Trans side, while the XF1 and XF10 use Bayer sensors. This difference is pretty obvious when you see their prices, don't get me wrong. The XF1 and XF10 have their own fans, but most people would recommend the X70 over the XF10 and the XQ1 or XQ2 over the XF1. But yeah, that recommendation comes with a higher price tag. I'm lucky enough to own both the XQ1 and the X70, and as you'd expect, it's an awesome experience. Just kidding, let's get serious and figure out if these Fujifilm premium pocket cameras are really worth the price. We'll compare them side by side. This cute, powerful, discontinued pocket camera was released in 2013. It's got a 12 megapixel X-Trans 2 sensor packed into a 2/3 inch size. Back in 2013, it was priced at $499. And today, you'll find it on eBay for around $300 to $400. I mean, how does that make sense? It's an 11-year-old camera and the price hasn't dropped much. Well, the simple reason is Fujifilm doesn't make these little beasts anymore. This one is a legend. It dropped in 2016, featuring a 16 megapixel X-Trans 2 sensor with an APS-C sensor size. It originally sold for $699, but if you are looking for one today, you'll often see listings between $900 to $1,000. Yeah, that's wild. Here in Indonesia, where I live, I doubt many people would pay that premium unless they are really desperate. Fortunately, you can still find decent deals around $500 to $700, but $700 is still pretty steep for a pocket camera in Indonesia's camera market. Build quality, the X70 definitely feels more premium than the XQ1. The $600 price difference shows. That said, the XQ1 still feels solid. I'm pretty sure the front and back panels are plastic, as I've opened the back panels to fix a malfunctioning menu button. The buttons on the XQ1 feel a bit flimsy, unlike the sturdy feel of the X70's controls. Both cameras use the same X-Trans 2 sensor, but the sensor size are different. The X70's APS-C sensor is 6.3 times larger in area than the 2/3 inch sensor in the XQ1. The size difference is a big deal. Even Sony's RX100 series has a larger sensor than the XQ1 or XQ2. Despite being in the same price range, it's definitely something to think about. The XQ1 offers 8 basic film simulations. You have Brovia, Velvia, Astia, monochrome yellow filter, monochrome red filter, monochrome green filter, and you have Sepia. Meanwhile, the X70 gives you 11 simulations. It has all the XQ1's option, plus Classic Chrome, Pronic High, and Pronic Standard. For the image quality, the X70 is the clear winner here, but to be fair, the XQ1's image quality is surprisingly good for a 2/3 inch sensor. What really impresses me about the XQ1 is how snappy the shutter is. It's probably one of the fastest pocket cameras of its size on the market. There is almost no shutter lag, unlike my Canon G12, which feels sluggish in comparison. Both the G12 and XQ1 are in a similar price range today, but while the G12 is loved for its tactile knobs and dials, the XQ1 wins for practicality and reliability. The X70's main selling point, aside from its built-in tech, is its sharp lens. Yes, some might even say it's too sharp. You are essentially getting a Fujifilm body paired with quality Fujifilm glass. Autofocus complaints exist, but it's not a deal breaker. It's probably because the wide angle lens sometimes struggles to lock focus. Should you buy one? It depends. I got my XQ1 for just $108, but that's because it had a playback button malfunction that later caused a D-pad issue. Luckily, the fix was simple and I even made the video about it. If you find one around $100 with a similar issue, I'd say go for it, as long as you are willing to put in a little work. But at $300 to $400, I'd say skip it. For that price, you'd better off with a Sony RX100 Mark I. If you are after Fujifilm's color simulation, you can still achieve that look with Sony, Olympus, Lumix, or Canon. I have a video how to do that. If you are looking for your first camera, don't spend $300 to $400 on XQ1. Even the G12 is overpriced at that range. For that money, you'd better off with a used DSLR. Yes, a DSLR, which is the most budget-friendly option in today's photography world. Well, the industry shift to mirrorless cameras is driving DSLR price down. So why just don't we go against the trend and pick up a used DSLR? Maybe if you are a fan of 12 megapixel cameras, you can get a full-frame Canon 5D Classic for just under $300 in excellent condition. I'm just kidding. Just get the XQ1 if you must. Or consider a Lumix GX1 with a 14mm f2.5 lens. See, there are plenty of options. Final thoughts? I'm seriously considering selling my X70 and getting a decent full-frame DSLR instead. Don't get me wrong, I love the X70, but since I also have the XQ1, which serves a similar purpose as a travel camera, it's worth considering. You can do so much more with $900 than just buy a travel pocket camera. I mean, maybe it's time I rethink my obsession with tiny pocketable cameras. People want small, stealthy devices, and companies are fighting for this niche. But why follow the trend? Consider something like the Pentax K1 Mark I. In fact, I'm thinking of flipping my X70 for a K1. By the time this video is on YouTube, I may have already sold this X70. There is nothing wrong with being visible with the big cameras. It's like saying, hey, I'm taking pictures, I'm not hiding anything from society. If you got the money, get the X70. It's perfect for family travel, selfies, thanks to its flip screen, and it even has a built-in flash, unlike the Ricoh GR3. So yeah, most people who own the X70 have it as their second, third, or even fourth camera, not their main one, and honestly, that says a lot. I tried using it as my main camera, but it just didn't click for me. It didn't serve my purpose. In the end, it really comes down to what you need it for. If you are after a second camera with that Fujifilm look, the XQ1 is a solid choice, but only if you get an excellent copy. If not, consider the RX100. It's a bit bigger, but you'll have more flexibility. And that's it for the comparison. I hope it's been helpful. See you next time, and remember to keep snapping and keep it budget-wise. Au revoir.